Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Morning to you all.
And also to you.
Good morning, mates. Please,
Good morning.
let's
Morning, dear.
off our mics. Some of us we have our mics. Let's remember to off to mute them. Let's off our mics, guys. Let's off them.
Anastasia, please mute yourself.
Ma?
Mute yourself, please. Mute yourself.
Okay.
When Nebisa Mohammed, please mute yourself. Dama Gaji, please mute yourself.
It looks like Banwan is struggling to off her mic. Anastasia, do you need help?
Yes, me, I'm not hearing. No.
Yes, the class has not started.
Yeah.
can hear you.
Huh?
We are waiting for
can
the
hear
course.
you, Banwan.
Okay, okay.
So,
But you can hear me.
yes,
Very well, Banwan.
course is
Banwan,
disturbing
Huh?
the class now. Your
You
noise
said?
in the background is disturbing the class. So, what you will do for us is tap on your screen. Under your
Yes.
screen, you will see where it is written mute. Press, excuse me, press on that mute, and then nobody will hear you again.
Okay, I should
Please.
press on the mute
Yes.
on my phone.
Yeah. So that you
Okay.
will not disturb the whole class. Thank you.
Okay. 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 I saw my name on the screen.
That's not a problem. They were not addressing you. Because,
Banwan says she has seen her name on the screen.
Yes.
So you see that thing that is blinking the screen, that means you are talking, you never off your mic or this thing. So the noise coming from the background can be heard the lecture. So click on that small thing by your left hand side, the bottom. Wait.
Okay, guys, Dr. Otene will be with us shortly. He's having network challenges,
Sotene
but
is here already.
It's okay. He's already here on the platform. I can see him. He's already on the
okay,
platform.
Yeah,
sir.
Sotene is free. I was trying to log in. I was having some network issues, but I think I've been able to do that successfully. Good morning, every person. Bamuan, Kwanyam, Dehide, John Ude, Miriam Adamu, Gem God. I was
Good morning,
active in
sir.
class yesterday. Juliet, I just pray the network is good today. Echeladi, what a privilege to have you around. Thanks to Simeon, Onderhemba, Queen, and Nakisat, Uma Blessing, Patience Somudu, Ivan, Philip, Rosemary Edu. How can I wish I can call all the names. Ogaba Isaac, Aliyu Hanif, Bala Ibrahim, Busu Kumaten, Jennifer Jato, Dosu Igba, Ageda Sylvia, Joakura Desmond, iPhone 8 Plus. This iPhone 8 Plus is still here. And then today we have 673195. Serious class participant. Jennifer Chekwa. Jennifer, it's been a while. Uti Kwakwan, Adamson Goodness, Samuel Hilfan. Samuel, please, may your network be good today. I would like to hear from you. Manasseh, Anongochia, and Ahenda. Yeah, I think those are the people I can see. Good morning. I saw that message on the chat too. I hope we are fine. We will continue with our class, and we will see precisely where we can get to today, and then know how we round up. We started yesterday by defining theories and also told ourselves what we can use theories to do. So you can use it to understand things, to predict things, for guidance so that we don't make mistakes, guides us. It helps us to organize knowledge and organize different things that happen around us. Like we've been discussing about theories of development, it's able to organize all these theories, put them together, and then it helps us for interpretation of empirical data and whatever we observe. We looked at theories of development, starting from the classical theory of modernization that looks at development to follow a linear path, a straight path from traditional to preconditions to take off, then take off, to drive to maturity, and then the age of mass consumption. And then we looked at the dependency theory too, where we had the core and the periphery, and we said the developed countries are in the core, the developing and the underdeveloped are the periphery, and you can be sure that those at the core will not want those at the periphery to come close to them. So our being underdeveloped is because they want us to continue to depend on them, and they continue to exploit us, and the little resources that we have that could have brought us to point of development, they are always willing to take away from us so that we are not as developed as them. Then we looked at the structural change theory, where we're talking about having a change, focusing on agriculture and hoping that if we get our agriculture right, we'll be able to get our industry right, and then we would have development. And then we looked at the dual sector model, which we said is similar to the structural model that tells us that we should pay attention to both the industry and then to agriculture. We are hoping that if we have labor from the agricultural area, it could spill over to the industry and it could lead to economic growth. We look at the human development theories that is telling us that we should not focus on technology, we should not focus on any other thing, should not even focus on the economy. We should not bother too much about other things. Let's focus on the human being. The thinking is that if we are able to improve ourselves, our education, our health, our standard of living. Certainly, those indices will spill over to help us arrive at development. So I'm just running through what we did yesterday. And then we argued a lot about neoliberalism that tells us that government that is even making
You can add your God of hearing you that much. We're not hearing you that much.
sorry, at a point I was thrown out of the meeting. I have to struggle to find my way back. One would not want me to do a revision of what we did yesterday. So let me just run ahead to what we need to do today. Then we would see how we round up. I think yesterday we stopped at social development as an indices for development. And then we said for any person, for any country, for any society to be developed, first, we said it must develop economically, where we looked at what economic growth should be like, increased production. We talked about labor market and employment. People should be able to have jobs and should have good working conditions. We talked about income distribution, ensuring that at least we don't have our income so skewed such that some are very poor, some are very rich. There should be a balance. And then we looked at industrialization and infrastructure. Yesterday, we also looked at social development that has to do with development in our education. Every person should have access to education, quality education, and then access to health services also should be ensured, and the cost of those services should not be so high such that people will be able to have access to good health care. And then we talked about gender equality. We should not have opportunities skewed towards one of the genders. We should have a balance, equal participation of every person in the society. And then we talked about social protection. If we are able to ensure all of this, we will have social development. And then we agreed that social development is one of the indices by which we can measure development. So we'll continue from there. Today, we'll look at environmental sustainability. We can't be saying we are developed if our environment is threatened, if we have environmental issues. So just like our economy is important, our social life is important, our environment is also very important. For one, we should be able to manage our natural resources like our water, air, minerals, our forests, so that we don't exploit them too much, we don't deplete them. And these resources should be such that everyone should have equitable access to them. If we say we are developing, like we started yesterday, and we are causing damage to our natural resources, then it means, sorry, somebody posted on the group that they cannot hear me. I hope you can hear me now.
We're hearing
Yes,
you,
we
sir.
can hear you, sir.
All right. I just saw some, okay, I just saw some posts on the chat now that some people are not hearing me. So I will proceed.
Hello, sir.
So
It's hard
yes,
to hear you, sir, because from my end, there's a heavy downpour right now. Rain is falling.
okay. So maybe it is from your end now. What can I do to make the sound better from your end? But I just hope I'm speaking loud enough. Do I need to
Yes,
speak
sir.
louder?
Yes,
Okay.
Sir,
sir,
maybe
you are.
You,
maybe you be a bit
Your voice
audible.
is audible enough, sir.
Okay. And this is why it's a large class. Some are saying I am audible enough. Some said I should be more audible.
You are
I don't
very
know.
okay, sir. The
Oh,
weather is
thank
cold. You have to be steady and smooth.
Oh, thank you. You know, let me speak with a cool voice. Since the weather since the weather is cold, Jennifer said I should speak with a cool voice. So I will take note of that.
It's
So
okay.
like I was saying, our natural resources are important to us, and we should be able to take care of them. Sustainability, like we said yesterday, it's not only for us, we should consider the generation and the people that are coming after us. We should not exploit, deplete, exhaust all our resources, and then the people that are coming behind will not have anything to work on. So that is one angle for which we can say we are developing or we are developed if we are able to manage our natural resources. The second is by engaging in practices that can reduce the impact of climate change. When we are talking about mitigating, it's like reducing. We know it's difficult to stop climate change completely because it's a phenomenon that is even beyond us. But the best we can do is to adopt practices or lifestyles that will reduce the impact of climate change. If we are able to do that, it means we are helping ourselves towards development. We can't be damaging our climate and be thinking that we will have development in any way. It doesn't work that way. So while we pay attention to our natural resources, we also pay attention to our climate, and then our ecosystem and biodiversity should also be conserved. It should be protected. And I think that is why when we're talking about industrialization yesterday, we're asking ourselves, how is it easy or how possible it could be to have a balance between industrialization and conservation of our environment and sustainability of our environment? Because the truth is, if you want to construct a road, you are causing damage. Some animals are living there, you are sending them away, you are killing them, you are destroying their habitat. In fact, as we develop, some of the species of the animals and the plants we have are disappearing, and we are not able to see them anymore. We are just thinking that in some time to come, some of the animals we have now will be like a story to our children. When you begin to tell them, for example, that there is something like so animal, they'll say, ah, why are you lying to us? Just like somebody is telling us about dragons now, we say, no, it's an imaginary animal and things like that. Dragons never existed. Who knows? Maybe they did, but we could not conserve our biodiversity. We have lost some of these animals. Let us hope we don't continue to lose them. We have even gotten to a point where people go to game reserves now to hunt the little ones that we have, and we want to preserve for our children. People are going to game reserves to hunt those animals to kill them. We may just arrive at that point where these animals become like stories, and we begin to tell people that there was a time ago when we had so kind of animal. If we destroy our biodiversity and we are not able to take care of these animals, we are not able to protect and conserve our ecosystem, then we are not being developed. Whichever way we look at it, while we try to develop our infrastructure and our industry, we should have biodiversity in mind. We do not destroy the environment because we want development. And then finally, under our environment, we are also interested in minimizing pollution and disposing our wastes adequately. If we are not able to do that and we have a polluted, dirty, messed up environment, we cannot say that we are developing. Yeah, we are looking at a situation where we want to improve production. Our population is increasing, and we want to maybe make our industries to produce more. But you are sure that the more we produce, the more of these wastes that we'll be struggling to contend with. Because by and large, you produce more, you have most of these wastes, and you are thinking of how to dispose them and how to avoid pollution. Polythenes everywhere, and plastic cans everywhere. Yeah, our industries are producing and we are happy that they are doing that. But how we dispose them is an issue. And it's very, very important if we want to tell ourselves that we are developing. So, for today, we have looked at environment as an aspect that has to be taken care of when we are talking about development. You can't develop if your environment is not developed. If we can't manage our resources, we are battling with climate change and we are not doing anything to reduce the effects of climate change, destroying our ecosystem, and we are not conserving our biodiversity. We are polluting everywhere, disposing our wastes indiscriminately. Then we are not helping ourselves. Because if we look at a society that falls in this category, we can tell ourselves that that society is not developing. While we attempt to live environmental sustainability, I will ask if there is a question, because that is how we go through, one step at a time. If I have said anything that is not clear, you could just raise your hand and then you could let me know. Or if you want to make a contribution to the discourse, you are free to do so. I'll pause for a while and see if I can get responses.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, Mimido, you can speak.
Please, can you throw more light on biodiversity and conservation?
Okay, biodiversity conservation is just paying attention to our plants, our animals, and our environment. I
Okay.
think that is just the bottom line of it. We are paying attention to our plants, our animals, our environment, making sure that we preserve them. We don't kill all the animals we have today. We should be able to protect them such that where they live, which is their habitat, is not destroyed. There are places where animals live. We should preserve those places the best we can so that we don't destroy where these animals are staying. If we pursue development and destroy our environment, begin to cut down trees, begin to kill animals, send animals away, and they don't have a place to stay again. The people in the environmental field will tell us that we are causing a damage to our environment. And even when we think it is development, we are building this, building that, we must have destroyed one or two places where animals are staying. And we are saying it is not good enough. So while we want to develop our industry, we want to set up infrastructure, we should also pay our attention to the plants, the animals that we have around us, so that we don't destroy them. I think that is what biodiversity is talking about. Biodiversity is all about the plants, the animal. Bio has to do with life. So anywhere you hear bio, it has to do with life. Diversity of life has to do with a combination of both plants and animals coming together. So we should be able to conserve our plants, our animals, and everything that has life around us so that we don't cause damage to life in the name of development. I don't know if that explanation is good enough.
Yes,
Perhaps
sir. Okay.
All right, thank you so much. Any other input or any other question from anywhere? All right, if there is none, which I can just assume there is none for now, it means we will proceed. Um, after our environment, we should also pay attention to our politics. I think we handled economy, we handled the social aspect of our lives, we have handled our environment. Our politics, our polity is very, very important. We can't say we are developing or we are developed if our system of governance, for example, is not good enough. If we have institutions that are not transparent and that are not accountable, we can't say we are developing. If we are battling corruption and every person, even those that are not corrupt now, are looking for an opportunity to be corrupt, because we are just hoping that we can get to that point where, like we're talking about the core and the periphery yesterday, you are able to break into the core and get to where the resources is. You know, I was telling some people some time ago that even some of us that are insulting those that are corrupt now and are telling them they are not doing well and this, that, the test of somebody being upright is when the person has the opportunity to either be corrupt or not. And I'm sure that most people, when they get to the situation of governance and they touch these resources, when the millions that we are hoping we would have become hundreds in our hands because we have them in excess, we will begin to battle with issues of corruption. What about upholding the rule of law? In fact, this morning before I stepped out, I was watching on the television that we have open anti-grazing law in Benue State. How is the law being implemented? Who is implementing the law? And every day, every night, every time we hear of people being killed here and there. We may not know who is killing because this is a class. We can't even mention names or assume they are from a particular sect or anything like that. But if we have a law, the law should be upheld. Some people should not be above the law. There are people that will do some things in this country and nothing happens to them. But ordinary people like us, you try to do them, you know where the matter will end. So if we are able to have a government that runs on institutions that are transparent, that are accountable, that are not corrupt, a government that can uphold the rule of law and ensure that there is good governance. Every person has a taste of what governance should look like. Then we are looking at a country, a situation where people are heading towards development. You can't develop if your governance is just not good enough. Also, on that point, we have issues of human rights. I think there are places where human beings don't even have rights at all. We are not talking about war situations. There are countries, there are places where there are crises. In those places, you can't even be talking of your rights because every person is just thinking of how to survive, how to cope. That is not what we are talking about. But on a normal day, normal grounds, every person has a right. Our rights are enshrined in our constitutions or in our code of conduct, in our social institutions. If they are not written down, we have institutions. Even when it is not in the constitution, we belong to societies that have ways by which we do things. We want to make sure that the rights of every person is promoted. Every person's right is upheld. If you violate the rights of people and it is not being addressed, it means we are not developing at all. So our polity, our politics, our governance, our constitution, our institutions should make sure that the rights of the, the people living in that society is upheld and is promoted. I think, I don't know if that is explanatory enough, but I'll go through the 4 points and then we'll take inputs, questions, corrections, and what have we. The third is our democratic process. We said democratization should be promoted. We should have real democracy. What is real democracy? Things like free and fair elections. I am sure that if we drop this in this class, it will take the whole of today discussing if our elections are free and fair. I think it's in Nigeria that you can go to court if you feel your democratic processes are not followed as it should be. Yeah, go to court and fight it. So, our judges, our lawyers now become the people that determines who rules us. It is not by who goes to vote and who you vote for. Because you can just go and vote, and then we are waiting for the court to declare who wins an election. That is not good enough for a developed society. We should have free and fair election. We should have political stability. And we are grateful to God that our politics has been stable for a while. There has been some fears in some quota of military coming in, disrupting our political process. But we are happy that we are still on and we are still doing well. There are places where there is political instability. The government has been taken over either by the military or by some other persons that are not even in the military. They constitute themselves into some kind of force, and then they are able to take over the government, run the government, and things like that. If we have such situations, then we are far from being developed. Somebody posted on the group that there are fair elections, but there are not free elections. Okay, maybe we can discuss that a little. Somebody said our elections are fair, but they are not free. Who can help us throw more light into that? Maybe it's Tioakosu, since you made the comment on the chat. perhaps we can discuss that a little. What do you mean when you say our elections are fair, but they are not free?
Okay, sir. What I mean is we always have an influence on those who are voting. The very moment you have an influence on who you want your son, your brother, or any other person to vote, it means the election is no longer free.
Okay.
But then it's fair when everybody is given that opportunity to vote.
All
I
right.
am
So
talking about the technicalities involved in other things. I'm talking about anywhere in the world, there's always that influence. I'm talking about Nigeria. For instance, there are some people who give let me just call names. Peter Obi won, or Peter Obi didn't was rigged out. But those who were in agree with me that even in Benue State, yes, some of us influenced the result to go towards his side. So everybody was rigging where they had that strong influence. That means the election was not free. Even in US, elections are usually they are usually fair, but then there are manipulations. Remember, Trump accused Biden that time of rigging him out and all of that, and then this year too, it was the same thing. So that's why I made the point.
all right. So it is fair, but it is not free because people are influenced on their voting choices and things like that. Anybody has any other thing to say about that? Maybe to add to that?
Good morning, sir.
So yeah, good morning.
Yes, sir. Mine is a kind of a question, and
All right.
we talk about democratization,
Mm-hmm.
and then about the political stability of the country.
Yeah.
First, is it only a democratic process that can bring development to the country? Are there no other way? Why are the rebels even trying to take powers? Why are the military trying to take power back? If you look at them, it's because there are no development, or those who are being entrusted with the democratic process are abusing the opportunity. Take, for example, let me start from Nigeria. During Abacha's regime, we were made to understand, even though we were very young at that time, we were made to understand that Nigeria economy was very stable under Abacha regime, that the citizenry are happy under that regime.
Yeah.
Take another example of Traore of Burkina Faso.
Yeah.
Yes, of Burkina Faso right now. We make to understand that, yes, he's trying to chase away the white men from that country and trying to mine their gold by themselves and then building wealth for that country now. Can we say that, yes, it's only a democratic process that can bring development? That's
All
my
right.
question, sir.
That is a massive question. Let us drop it on the floor of the class and let's get input. Who will want to lend a voice to that? Must
Okay,
we
sir.
be democratic to say we are developed? Yeah.
It must not. For instance, in England, they are not practicing the democratic system of government. There are different systems of government, and then every country chooses the one that best suits them. We have England who are not in a democratic regime or rule. We have others who are in a parliamentary system of government and all of that. So depends on the one that the constitution of that country accepts. And then for a fragile democracy like ours, we always have the military trying to take over and all of that. And particularly in Africa, we have this idea of it should be me. If not, let me just use this word in pidgin. If not be me, make everything sour. Why you go to other countries and then they are looking for who will be the governor of a state in Israel, and then people are so interested in their businesses that they don't want to even partake in a democratic process or in being in leadership. Why in Nigeria here we are killing ourselves to become leader? We kill the masses, we kill our opponents so that we will lead. So I think it depends on the country and what fits for them.
All right. That is a wonderful contribution. Game guy, your hand is raised up. Let me take your input.
Good morning, my able doc. Good morning, class. So my take on this point is this. In some countries that is not democracy that is making them to develop, and some countries is democracy. But my text is this, is where the institutions are very strong, are very powerful, are being recognized. And in the case of Nigeria, the institutions are weak. The human beings are more powerful than the institution. What am I trying to say? Where corruption is the father, is the key, then you can't develop, no matter how you do. In this country, one individual can tell you that, oh, this thing will not happen. And it will not happen because they packed our money, trillions of them, then they can use it to destabilize. Before you know, they can organize protests to destabilize government. Thank you, sir.
Hello, sir. I want to contribute. Hello, sir.
It's like he's having some challenges with his network.
Okay.
Sorry, I thought Doshima wanted to say something.
Yes, I wanted to, but there's someone that came before me, so I was waiting for him to finish before I could say something.
Yeah, but I'm not sure he's speaking yet. So we can take you while I also see Rosemary's hand is up. If you have something to say, we can take you. Then, or is
Okay,
Jigba back?
is Jigba? Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
Jigba
sir.
is back. Okay, Jigba, let's take you now.
Okay, sir. On the broader base, I would like to align myself with the previous speakers.
Okay.
Because you will see that in democracy, there are so many institutions that hinders or delays development. But under military regimes, you see that there are no bureaucratic bottleneck or red tapeism which delays development or actions or policies that can foster development in any society. During one of my colleagues there say, during Abacha's time, there were development, but you come to the to democracy from 1990 this time, which we can attest. You will see there are so many policies and institutions that before you do that, this institution or that will be consulted, and it delays time. So I am of the opinion that it's not only democracy that can foster unity or can propel development in any society. It's the mindset of the citizenry matters, and the people appointed in various institutions to man, if they have better minds of not killing down the policies or delay action, it will go a long way to propel social development in any society or community. That's my move.
All right. Thank you. Doshima, are you still there?
Yes,
I see
please.
hand. Okay, Doshima, let me take you. Sorry, I'm just calling people's names straight. I'm not adding Mrs. or Mr. or Prof. You know, we are in
He's
class.
very okay, Doctor, sir.
All right, thank you so much.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah.
Good morning, class. It's quite integral. This issue of governance and institutions that we are discussing. Earlier you said something. I think that is when you were talking about democratization and the institution, where you said, okay, some people come into the government, they take over the governance and they begin to rule, form certain groups and then take over. Now, if we are talking about the military just coming in and taking over, what about in a democratic situation where there are, groups,
About.
cackles,
About.
people, just, okay, people who are not many, certain individuals who are connected together because of interest and who happen to be influential to the government, who are the ones actually running the affairs of that government. Then when you come to the case of Nigeria, is democracy actually working for us in this country? Can we categorically say that, okay, since we came from the military rule to the civil rule, we are making giant strides. We are progressing at all chords of our lives as a nation, and it is democracy that is sponsoring that. I thank the Lord that a lot of our colleagues have pointed these things, these weaknesses out. But where do we go from here? Is it the military rule that is better for us as a nation? Then another person pointed out the need for institutions to be strong. But these institutions themselves are not run by themselves. It's human beings. It's individuals that run them. So the first is the mentality, is how we think, how we process things. Then our interest. Everybody wants to drag it to themselves. I want my mother to come into governance. I want my brother, the person that is connected to the person that I used to know, and this and that. The interest is much. And while you were talking about conservation, you were talking about we trying to see how we can conserve resources for future generation. Our political leaders now are thinking about the immediate, their stomach, what they can get now. There's hardly preparation for posterity. So where do we go from here? Mine is more like a question, because I'm in Nigeria and I tell you what is going on is quite sad. So where do we go from here? Thank you, Doctor.
All right. Thank you so much for that input. I think we have a lot to say this morning, but I still see hands are up. Raf, we can take you.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, sir. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Raf.
Hello, can you hear me, sir? Okay,
yes,
sir.
I can hear you. Good morning, Raf.
Yeah, well, thank you, sir. The question my dear brother asked, whether it's only democracy that will bring about development. Yes, it's not only democracy, but military is totally out of it, because the military has nothing to do with power. They are primarily saddled with the responsibility of defending territorial parts of any or sovereignty of any nation. They have nothing to do with power. So let's not bring them into this. Yes, we may say our democracy is not maybe striving the way we expect, but certainly there are gains, because if it is military, the level of participation is always very low. And even our freedoms, most of our freedoms are being tied down when it is military. You cannot just criticize, even constructively. You cannot participate. If you're not a military, they just come and select a few and they work with. The level of consultations in whatever policies that there is very minimal. So no matter what, yes, I would say that our democracy is still struggling. but totally not military. Military has nothing to do with power. So and for example, I mean, what Fayam said about example of England. Yes, they too may not be democracy or democratic governments are of types. Theirs too is a democratic government. It's not military. Whether it's just that maybe they are practicing parliamentarian or whatever, but it's not military. So the way to go of the best global practice now is civil rule. So that's my take.
Hello, sir. Is the doctor in the house?
It is, I am in the house. Mrs. Edu, your hand
Hello,
was
sir.
up. I don't know if you want to say something.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
I still want to contribute on the question that was asked. The truth about it is democracy is not the only system of government that propels development. I'm going to use China as an example. I would say that China is not considered a democratic country. It is rather a one-party communist state where the Chinese Communist Party is in charge of everything, and there is a National People's Congress that passes legislations and all. But in as much as there is a one party, and then people are not allowed to maybe vote for who they would have wanted or who they like and all, China is doing well. In fact, by 2026, it may even become the world power from the way they are going. Yes, some of the decisions may not be favorable to the masses, but the country is developing on a daily basis. Before we know what is happening, China will overtake America in a couple of years. So democracy, sometimes, even when we have the ability to vote for or the freedom to vote for who we want, it's like it's even a one-party system, because at the end of the day, is who they want that matters. It's not even who we want. So I don't even see a party system in Nigeria as free and fair. There's nothing fair about it. There's nothing free about it. So I think that as a nation, maybe we should just look for what works for us. I think that our constitutions in Nigeria needs to be amended. There are a lot of stuff on that constitution that is not working for us as a country. So I think our leaders, the legislature or the people in charge of those aspects should take a proper look into this constitution and think of how to amend it for the betterment of our country. Because whatever is there, for me, I feel like it was something that was laid down by someone, and we are just walking on a path of what was laid down by someone. We should have what works for us and work with it. That's my contribution. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you so much. Wonderful input. Is there any other input we'll need to take from any person?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
yes, sir.
yeah.
I asked the question.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Can I continue?
Is it Teso that is talking now or John? Okay, let's take Teso, then
It's
later
John.
we'll take John.
Okay, sir.
Okay, let's take, who first? Is it Teso or John?
Okay, let John continue, sir.
Okay, John, let's.
Yes. Good morning once again. I was one that asked the question, and in all the reaction to the question, they are all setting an agenda for development, and we agree. So make an example of China and what China is doing today. I can tell you categorically, sir, that in Nigeria, if this, what we are practicing right now, if what it is not favoring us, like I asked that question before. Because if you look at the political development that we're talking about, we talked about the institution being transparent and accountability, devoid of corruptions, and upholding the rule of law. Today in Nigeria, the rule of laws are not being upheld. Today, we are not transparent in our government. Human rights are being violated anyhow. You can see there is no peace and security in this country. You hear on a daily basis that people are being slaughtered even in their rooms, and nobody is doing anything about that. We talk about democratization. Today, you go for election, you vote for who you want them to go in, and nobody is even accepting that. My colleagues talked about, and he said that the military is in the hands of few people that the court cabal that take decision for us. If military, few people are taking the right decision for this country and it's favoring us and we are enjoying it, why not? I'm not calling for a military to take over, but if that is what we can even enjoy, I believe we can go along that line. My sister talked about the China, using China as an example today. Look at how developed, how fast they are, even though they are not in a democratic government, but they have their way of doing their thing. Another person talked about the constitutional matter. This is not a constitutional matter, sir, because we have enough law in this country that can set us on a high path of development, just that we don't have respect for our laws. The question is now is again, how do we respect our laws? And how can we move out of this place? Thank you.
Thank you so much. As we are discussing, I am seeing on the group chat very wonderful and interesting discussion too. But Teso, is it Teso that wanted to say something? I don't know if you still have something to say.
Hello, sir. Good morning, class. Hello.
Okay, iPhone 8 Plus.
Good morning,
iPhone
class.
8 Plus, you can speak. Good morning.
Yes.
Hello, good morning.
Morning. I want to make a little contribution. I think the problem is not with the laws. The problem is with the people. Building strong institutions. If you look at Britain, for instance, the laws are there. The rich people are there. In China, the laws are there. The rich people are there. But what the government, what the people have decided is that if a rich man commits a crime, that person must be prosecuted and brought to justice. Then the justice now comes to play. Same as in China. But here in our country, the rich people are lords. They lord over the populace. And whatever they do is they are free from it. Nobody, even the police doesn't protect the common people, protects the house of the rich people. That is what is happening. But as in Britain and in America, they are more interested in protecting the people and making these people to be brought to justice. But here is the different is the case. So I think it is building strong institutions and making them work. That is just the issue. Thank you.
How do we make the institution work? That is the question.
Can I? All right. Any other inputs?
Yes. Hello, the facilitator here.
Yeah. Let us, if we can hear me, it means we should agree on something. It is not as if democracy is not good, but the way we run our own democracy is not good. Can we agree on that?
Yes.
Sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, Rosemary, your hand is up.
No, I wanted to say something on what my brother just said, that
Yeah,
it's not
Rosemary,
about
Edu.
the law. Yeah, that it's not about the law, it's about the people. For me, I think it's
Wow,
about
this
both the
network is...
law and the people. Hello, please, can we hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. You say
Yes, we
it's not
can hear
about
you.
the law, but it's about the law and the
So I
people.
think that for me, it's both about the law and the people, because there are some laws in Nigeria that are favorable to the high
That's
class
your
people.
result.
There are some laws in Nigeria that are favorable to them. So when they commit a crime, it's being treated with so much levity. So what is the problem if we have a sitting governor and he commits what is the immunity that is given to governors, that they come in, they take so much of what we have as a state, and there is an immunity that covers them, that nobody, maybe they are not to be interrogated or any sort of, well, I don't understand. It's about the law and the people. If these laws are firm, because the truth about it is they are the ones who commit. I'm not a perfect person, nobody is. But when we talk about the environment, infrastructures, and all, the people at the helm of affairs are the ones who take out mostly from the environment, take out mostly from infrastructures and all the things that we are crying about. So if the laws are firm to these people too, it will keep them in check. Let's use the former governor as an example. Yaya Bello, after all what we heard happened in Kogi, and he left government, and the next thing we're hearing was that the EFCC was looking for him. I don't understand how the EFCC will be looking for him for how many years. So that is to tell you that these laws are not strict on some of them. It favors them the more. So it's about the law and the people. If they were serious about finding him, within a twinkle of an eye, they would have found him. But they were not serious. They just kept telling us that they are looking for him. They are looking for him. They are looking for him. Please, what have been done about it up until this moment we are speaking? Is a question I'm throwing to all of us. So maybe somebody should please help me with an answer. So the law should also be firm to these people.
The simple answer to that your question is looking for a Bello or whoever that a corrupt official is not the issue of a law. It's the weak institution. If the EFCC is not weak, they can pick a Bello even within a 30 seconds. Wherever he is in this country, they can pick him.
That's
so
what
it
I'm
is not the
saying.
issue
That is
of
both
God.
the
It is
law
the
and the
institution.
people.
It's the institution. Institution is weak, not the law.
We're saying the
There are
same
laws
thing.
that say they
It's
must arrest
institution
him,
laws.
but we are not working with the laws.
Mr. John, my
It's
brother
the same
John.
thing, sir.
Yes, sir.
My brother John, you asked this very interesting question. Let us
Yes,
trash
sir.
it.
Okay,
Yeah,
sir.
my dear sister. Hello, sir. My dear sister that just spoke. It's not just about the law and the people. It's first about the people. The laws are there, clearly spelled out. There is no law that has been there to protect any individual from doing when he does any wrong, when he or she does any wrong.
Yeah.
There's no law. There's no law. So it's about the people first. We are the ones that are bending these laws. We are the ones that are making our institutions very weak. Because I remember that the first American president, George Washington, was someone who did very well. That if he had wanted, he would have been continued in office for whether 5 terms or so. But he said no. That they are going to do this for posterity, and they are going to do this for the future. So the laws should be respected. And since then, they have been respecting their laws. It's just that we don't respect our laws. We bend them. So it's about the people first. We must change our mentality. Because you find judges now, we find judges giving, okay, for example, you see these political cases. This court will give this judgment. The same case, another court will give a different judgment. And that is how it continues. So it's about us, not the laws. The laws are there. Thank you.
They're not strict enough for some people.
All right.
John.
I think, sir, we can progress.
Echelati, I have not heard your voice in this class, and I can see your hand is up. So
Hello,
let's
sir, I
take
think we can progress.
Hello, John.
Because the society like Nigeria, they have all the mechanism of development in place. Is the attitudinal, is the attitude. So if the people's attitude are changed, I think it will go for better. Because all the institutions are in place, and there are legal frameworks guiding the standard of the society. So if if people change their attitude, I think the society can move to the next level or to a sustainable level, sir.
All right. Echelati, have they spoken your mind?
Sorry.
Not completely.
sir.
Hello?
Good morning.
Okay, good
Good morning,
morning. So
sir.
let me hear your mind. Then we rule on this matter. Then we proceed.
Okay, I just feel that it's thinking of Nigeria as
Please, those that are not speaking should mute. Jigba, please mute.
Okay,
Jigba,
sorry,
please
sorry, sorry,
mute.
sir.
Thank you. All right, Achelaji, we can continue with you.
okay. To speak specifically about Nigeria, I don't think that is about the law. I support the other speaker that said that we have enough laws to make Nigeria better. I think if we as a people will look inward ourselves and tell ourselves the truth, we are really the problem. We are really the problem. It's not about the law. It's not about what we have, what we don't have. How much have we looked inward and do the right thing ourselves, being the people of Nigeria? I think most 90% of what we are experiencing in Nigeria is not just about the law. It's not about the law. I think it's about the people. We need to look inward and then free ourselves from the deep corruption that we have sunk ourselves into for a very long time now. None of us is even free from this. We are all corrupt. And most of our characters, most things that we do, we are corrupting each of our activities. So if we look inward and help to bring ourselves out of these corrupt activities that we do and the things that give us setbacks, I think it will be better enough for us to develop as a nation. This is my own point, sir. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Sometimes, can we proceed?
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We can proceed.
Okay, because I see some hands are still up, but I wish we can proceed from here.
Yes,
Thank you,
we'll
because
proceed.
we have been on this point for a while. It is good to discuss some of these things, and it's good to have people share their opinion. Let me not contribute to the discussion again, because we have said a lot. But whichever system of government that, if we look at the first point, has good governance, that is transparent, is accountable, is devoid of corruption, upholds the rule of law, promotes good governance, promotes the rights of the people in that society so that their rights are not violated, is brought into office through a fair process, a free process, and it is politically stable. It doesn't matter if it is democracy or whatever. It means it is good enough. Because the truth is, those are the things that we hope we can get through democracy. When we are talking about dividends of democracy, those are the things we are looking out for. So if any other form of government can provide those indices and is doing well, who cares about democracy? If my right is protected, what do I need democracy for? I think we are saying democracy is a free and fair government. People can speak their mind, people can express themselves and things like that. So if there is a military in place, for instance, and I am able to speak my mind, why do I need democracy? If there's a military in place that is devoid of corruption, why do I need democracy? If there's a military that upholds the rule of law, that has good governance, what do I need democracy for? So the whole thing just boils about having all these things in place. We don't know where it comes from, who it comes from, and whatever. But if we have all these indices put in place, just like some people were referring to China, to England, that may not be having this, our typical democracy, and are doing well, it doesn't matter. The moment all of these are considered and it is working well for the society, we said they are going towards development. All right. So we have discussed a lot about that. I had thought that we will discuss a little about citizen participation, because some time ago we were hearing on the news that our representatives are planning to come up with a law that makes voting compulsory for every person. So on that citizen participation, I had thought that we would have time to really discuss that, but we have spent good time on the other points on democracy and democratization. So we will not discuss citizen participation so much. But for a society to be developed, the citizens should be able to participate in elections, participate in every discussion that has to do with them. They should have a voice. They should be able to speak up. They should not be sidelined. The moment they feel they are part of a government, they are included, and it's an inclusive government, good and fine, we are heading towards development. Then the final point there has to do with peace and security. And we said there should be peace, there should be security between and within countries. Between a country, because within our borders, if we want to be developed, we should have peace, we should have security. I think that is another long way and a long discussion if we drop in our midst. I am also sure that for those of us that did a rating of Nigeria and told us that we have taken up, that we are working towards our development, when we looked at development as a linear sequence. Putting all of these indices together we may be able to rate Nigeria again and tell ourselves, where are we? Are we still at the primitive state, or are we putting ourselves together to take off? Have we taken off? You know, are we developing what based on what we've taken off, and have we arrived at that mass consumption? But peace and security is very, very important between the countries. And then within countries, how well are we doing with our neighbors? It is an indices that should tell us if we are developing or not. So we should have peace within our borders, and we should also have peace with other countries around us. It is when we have peace sorry, I keep getting thrown out of the meeting and back. I am sure it has to do with network, and we are trying the best we can to get the best out of the network. Sorry, I've been thrown out again. So, can we proceed beyond political development?
Yes, sir.
Yes, we can, sir.
Okay. So, the network is not helping me here. It keeps throwing me out, and I keep struggling to come back. But we'll struggle and see what we can do. So, The other thing that we must consider will be our cultural development. We can't, we can, so by 11, no, by 12. Sorry, class. I had to put one or two things in order. So we would also be interested in cultural development. If we want to develop as a group, as a people, as a nation, then we should pay attention to our culture, cultural preservation, and our cultural heritage, our cultural diversity. These are things that we should not play with. We must promote them and we must protect them. It is our responsibility to ensure a balance between modernization and cultural preservation. I think we remember when we were talking about one of those theories yesterday, and we're telling ourselves that we should not look at other people and try to be like them. We look at some countries, yeah, they are more developed, and then we begin to drop some of our cultural practices because, in fact, before they even tell us that those things are local, we are already telling ourselves that those things are local, and we're already looking down on ourselves, and we are struggling to be like them. That is not development in its sense. If we want to develop, we should develop culturally. And one of the ways we can develop culturally is by preserving and promoting our cultural heritage. I am sure that if we don't look down on ourselves, it will be difficult for people to look down on us. And even if they feel they are looking down on us, we should be at a point where we can happily tell ourselves that we are satisfied with what we are doing and we keep life going. So while we want to be modern, yeah, let us have a balance between modernization and cultural preservation so that we don't go all the way in one direction and tell ourselves that we want to be modern people and we forget about our cultural heritage. Thank you, Jennifer Jato. You said we should be proud of our culture and showcase it to the world. I agree with you. If we take pride in our culture and in our cultural heritage, in our cultural practices, those people that we think are advanced now, I am sure will come around and try to see what we are doing. Perhaps our culture may even interest them and they may begin to learn from us. So that is the first point. Our culture should be preserved and should be promoted. Secondly, we cannot talk about cultural development if we do not have peace, this social cohesion. Social cohesion has to do with every group in the society working together and feeling that they are included in what happens in that governance. Some years ago, I think there was the discussion that our country is tilting more in one direction. Appointments are tilting in one direction. Every person occupying a good office is from one part of the country, and everybody was mourning, was groaning, was complaining, and things like that. I am sure that the pendulum has swung to another direction now. People are beginning to cry and complain that most of the appointments and most of the offices are held by people in some other direction. That is not an inclusive society. When we are talking about social cohesion, it means every person should have a sense of belonging. Our societies should be inclusive. And then the diversity of the society should be respected. All right? We are not saying every person should come from one society. Every person should come from one ethnic group. Yeah, we have this fragmentation. We have these ethnic groups and we are scattered. But we should be able to put ourselves together, realize that this country is our own, and work consciously towards attaining cohesion, attaining inclusiveness, such that every person can say, yes, I am a part of this country and I have a voice. I am respected enough to be a part of the country. If we put these 2 points together and we're able to preserve our cultural heritage and we ensure cohesion among the different groups in the society, then we can tell ourselves that we are doing something about development. I don't know if there are contributions to take on this, if there are questions before we proceed.
Let us proceed, sir.
Okay, let us proceed. We still have about 30 minutes for this class. Let's see what we can catch. The next area of development will be technological development. But somebody just dropped on the chat that cultural preservation is key. But have you forgotten that modernization posits that cultural practices must be put aside to borrow Western practice? Now, but that's what we are saying. Even when we are trying to be modern, let us not forget where we are coming from. We should have a balance between our modernization and cultural practices, so that even when we are trying to be modern, we can do our local things in a modern way. If we marry the two of them together, it will be a good result, such that we don't abandon our cultural practices and go after modernization. That will not be development. So technological development has to do with promotion of scientific research and technological innovations. If we're able to promote innovation, we're able to promote research, and we are able to have wider access to technologies and environments that support innovation, then we'll be telling ourselves that we are going towards development. We need technology, we need research, we need innovations. So every day people sit in their corners, all they are thinking of is how to make life better. What do I produce? What do I invent? What scientific research do I put in place aimed at solving a problem? I was discussing with a friend some days ago, and he told me clearly that we are not doing well, those of us that are in academics and those of us that are into research. And I asked why, because I thought, well, we are doing our best and things like that. But he told me that all the researches that we carry out, all the projects that we write, what have they been able to add to our lives as a people? What technology have we been able to develop that will say, yes, this is as a result of my research. This is the innovation I have come up with. And sincerely, at that point, I didn't know how to answer again, because even my MSc, my PhD thesis as we speak is directly opposite me on my bookshelf. And the best I can do is to look at them and say, yes, I have completed my master's, I have completed my PhD. Who is picking the findings of those researches? Who is working on them? When you make recommendations, who is on the other side to pick those recommendations and say, okay, so person carried out this research, came up with this and this. These are the recommendations the person have come up with. Let us pull through with the recommendation. This is what somebody has stressed himself to do in his lab, and he has come up with this. I think the discussion came up with one of our colleagues that did a work on how he can use plant extracts to treat diabetes. That there are some plants, you extract some chemicals from them, and there is a way he was able to process those plant extracts and is able to use them to treat diabetes. So you can imagine that kind of beautiful research, that kind of beautiful innovation. He is done with that research. I am sure that that research may just be on a bookshelf somewhere. He is done with his PhD. Who picks that? Who works on it? How will it become beneficial to every person? I think it's a serious question that I am sure that we'll continue to answer. And I don't know where the answer will come from. So to develop, we should develop in our innovations, we should develop in our research, and we should create environments that support this innovation. People should be willing to fund some of this research. People should be willing to pick them up, work on them, develop them, such that it benefits every person. And then under technological development, we cannot forget our ICTs. Our ICTs should be leveraged on. We should ensure that people have access to them, because even this class we are having, if not for ICT, we wouldn't have been here. These technologies are becoming helpful. They are becoming beneficial to us. So we should aim at having what we call digital literacy. And then if we leverage on our ICTs, if we are able to leverage on our ICTs and put them into proper use, they will drive technological development and they will overall help us to develop as a people. So these are 5 key areas of development. Perhaps if we have inputs we can take on technological development, or if there are questions we can also take. Do we have inputs? Do we have questions?
Yes. Hello, sir.
Yes,
hello, sir.
I am with you. You
Okay,
can
sir.
go ahead.
My is a kind of a contribution and a question in a way to Madam.
All right.
A contribution and a question in a way too. I just like the analysis that you just made about the someone who make a research on how to treat diabetes with some certain natural herbs or something like that. And you ask a question at this point in time that the project is hanging somewhere. After completing the PhD, what next? If you talked about the research, just like you say, it's promoting research and technology innovation, as well as access to technology environment to support the innovation. Yes, these are part of it now. The question at that particular time is that now, how do we go from there? How do we make somebody to go away from there? How do we get somebody who can develop such an idea and turn them into a productive thing, just like they did in a developed country? And then you talked about the information and communication technology to ICT. Yes, the class we are right now is with the help of ICT. We are all together from different parts of the country. We join and we come together to listen to you this morning. Yes, and if you look at it now, at the stage we are now, if you ask, you discover that yes, we are paying heavily for this class that we are right now, using our data and some other things. And yet the infrastructures are not strong enough to hold this in effectively. How do we grow from here to develop our infrastructure to support this development too? These are the kind of questions I want to ask her. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Any other inputs from any person? Because like I was trying to explain to research and what we are doing with them. I was trying to explain to the person that sorry, this network has not been fair to me today at all, but we'll keep coping and we'll keep trying to see how we can get the best out of it. I was thrown out of the meeting again. I have to find my way back. But on that, the person I was discussing with, I told him clearly that we have societies where people don't really on their own do some of those researches. Even as a student, as a PhD student, there should be somebody funding your research. Somebody knows what you are doing, and the person is already interested in it. The person gives you all that you want, all that you need for that research, fully funded. When you complete that research work and it is successful, and for example, you come up with a drug that, or a herb, let me call it a herb, that is able to treat diabetes, and it is tested and confirmed that it is true. Whoever has funded that research becomes like a partner with you. You are not finishing your work and then looking for a job because somebody is ready to pick you up. Okay, come and begin to produce this for us. We are giving you all you need. We are paying you this and this, perhaps as royalty and things like that. You already have somebody you are working with. So when we talk about an environment that supports research, those are the kind of things we begin to think of. So if I am a student, I go to my lab. That student I am telling you, because he's somebody I know very well, spent millions on that research. I go to my lab, I use my own money and I fund that research and I complete my work. And unfortunately, I don't even have money to produce it on a large scale. Where do I go from here? The environment itself has not favored that person to do one or two things because you just got stuck at the point where the best you can do is to prove to your supervisors, prove to your external person that will come for your research that you have been able to do this and it is workable. And you score A in your project and we drop that project there. You don't have money to fund the research. You don't have people coming to you to say, okay, we heard you have done this, you have done that. come and partner with us. Let us see how we can make this run on a large scale. It is a complex situation, but we can't be talking about development if we don't have that environment that will drive development. So, it may not be as easy as we are making it sound, but the truth is, if we do not have that supporting environment, then we cannot develop. Because you have all the knowledge, you will do all your research, you will have an A in your project. Very soon, I am sure you all will write your project. You'll say, come up with a project topic. We expect that your topic should be aimed at solving a problem. Because you don't just write a project because you want to write. They'll tell you what is your problem statement. What is the problem you want to solve? So for every research you carry out, you are working towards solving a problem you have identified. So why should your research work lie in waste if you have done something to solve a problem and the problem is still there looking at us? Our environment should be able to support research, support innovation. And we are sure that if we create that environment, it will help for development. I think that will be my answer and my input to that contribution that came in. If any person has any other thing to say, we can take.
Okay, sir. I think I also have a contribution to make. Just like you talked about the environment supporting and all of these innovations we come up with. I think our mindset too. We need to work on our mindset. One, we don't even believe in ourselves. We don't believe in what we have. And that is why you will see that something that is produced here in Nigeria, somebody will write on it that made in China. And you will see that in as much as that project or that herb that we are talking about that person made, it could be curing that disease. But so long as we know that that is produced here in Nigeria, we might not even be willing to patronize that person because we don't believe in ourselves. So I think if we change our mindset towards that, that will also help us. Hello.
They pushed our lecturer out again.
Oh.
Yeah, but
You can
he's
see-
back again. I will keep
Okay.
fighting them.
The lecture
We will
is
keep fighting them. If they push us out, we'll push ourselves back. We'll keep
I
That is
think
that is
if
why I
now
say
that
we
he's
should
back,
we
please,
should
they
build the
should lock the
infrastructure
door.
to
No, they should lock the door so that they will not push. They will not push him out.
Okay, so somebody should say you have not spoken today. You should help us to lock the door now so that they will not push me out again. Eh? All right. Sorry, we keep
Yes, sir.
coming in and it keep going out, but we'll make say lock the door so that they will not push me out again. So Jennifer, it's a good contribution. I think I was getting you to a point before I was thrown out. We need to look at ourselves. We need to have confidence in ourselves and things like that. Yeah, while we are doing that, the truth is that the environment we find ourselves matters. It may take a long time and it is a process. We are hoping we will get there. Because even if you believe in yourself and you are in an environment where nobody believes in you, it becomes difficult. Like you said, the first thing they will look at is where that drug is coming from. A student in UniAgric producing a medicine for diabetes is even local. That mentality is always there. It's a long process to change that mentality. But we are hoping that it will change someday. And if we do not have an environment where such innovations can thrive, then we will have issues with development. So I don't know if there are other contributions, if there are other questions that we can take, because we are already skipping that aspect that has to do with what comes up to get us where we can say we are developed. Are there questions? Are there inputs before we go to issues?
We can go ahead, sir.
To do with development, substantive issues of development. Okay, we can go ahead, and I can tell myself that we are almost even coming to the end of the class. But please, these points that we have measured and mentioned, take note of them. It is a key aspect of this course. The issues that have to be handled for us to talk about development: economic issues, social issues, environmental issues, political issues, cultural issues, and technological issues. Please, if you have a way of taking them and studying them well, it will be very helpful to all of us, because I am sure that we may see them over and over again. Somebody posted, Ibu Dilusi posted that criminal activities have been curtailed using ICT. That is very true. ICTs have helped us in many ways than one. So it has become a part of our life and continues to make life better for us. So what are the issues that have to do with development? It will be like passing, but I am sure that what we will discuss subsequently is not far from what we have just looked at, because the substantive issues of development are usually interconnected. And if we want to address them, it means we must put all the approaches together and see how we can put our heads together, drive ourselves towards achieving those things that would make us to develop. So we say by focusing on economic, social, environmental, political, cultural, technological aspects, development efforts can promote sustainable and inclusive growth, and that will be of benefit to every person in the society. All right. So if I'm a policy maker, if I'm a stakeholder, if I'm a development practitioner, it will be necessary for me to understand the issues that come together, that interplay to drive us towards development. And if there are issues that need to be addressed, that are challenges to development, it will be good to know them, to note them, and then to begin to think of how to solve them. So if we know that there are issues that must be put in place for us to have development, the next question we would ask ourselves is, what are the strategies that we can adopt to drive us towards development? What are the things that we need to do? What are the plans, the actions that we need to put in place to promote this economic growth we talked about, social progress we talked about, sustain our environment, make sure that our technology is up and is working well, make sure our politics is up and fine? What are the strategies that we can put in place to arrive at that development? Even if it is one of the strategies we'll look at, and then we'll round up for this morning class. If we come back in the afternoon, we'll look at some few more, and then we can close for the day. If we know that we must develop our economy to have development, and economic development is an indices and is an index for which we can measure development, it means that we should arrive at a point where we can build strategies to develop our economy. And what are those strategies that we can build to develop our economy? We said number one, we should diversify the economy. It is not all about one mono-sectoral economy. All we do depends on just one of the many things that God has blessed us with. It's all about it. For Nigeria, I don't know if it is oil, but I am sure that if you take oil out of Nigeria, we are in trouble. Even when we have agriculture, I don't know how much attention is paid to agriculture. We should be able to diversify. We should reduce dependence on a single sector of the economy if we want to have economic growth. Secondly, we should have policies that should drive industrial goods. Policies that should drive industrial growth. So the government should intervene. Is it even in terms of subsidies, tax incentives, whatever it is, support for research and development? You know, we want a particular industry, we want a particular sector to grow. The government should be able to fund research, support people that will work in those areas. Let there be a policy that will promote economic growth. If we are able to arrive at that, it will become a strategy through which we can have economic development. And then there is trade liberalization. There should be international trade. We should be able to sell abroad. We should be able to buy from other countries, exchange our currency, and make sure that we have economic growth. If you do not engage in other countries and you are not involved in international trade, how will you strengthen your currency? How will you do better? So, if we want to develop our economy and we want to have economic growth, one strategy will be trade liberalization. Ensure that we have some kind of trading partnership, some kind of link with some other countries to stimulate our growth in the country. The fourth point has to do with the financial sector development. I think it's been long we heard about banks collapsing and people losing all the money they have kept in their accounts. Thank God it is not really a common story again. If not, before now, you hear of people that have kept a fortune in some of these banks, and then you just hear one story that the bank collapsed, the financial institution cannot hold up again, and all they have kept there, hoping to make their lives better, is gone completely. So our financial sector should be developed, our institutions should be strengthened, they should have access to credit, and our capital markets should also develop so that the value of our currency is strengthened and things like that. And then finally, there are infrastructure that we need to support our economy. Things like energy. In fact, just before we started this class, somebody sent me a message that they've not had power, they've not had light since yesterday. So he's not able to charge his device, and as such, he's not able to join his class. Let me just attend to this. Give me 2 seconds. Sorry for the little interruption. There is an exam going on, and as the exams officer, they are running short of questions. So I have to quickly make arrangements to produce more question papers for them. Sorry about that. So we are still rounding up, and we are telling ourselves that all of these indices put together must be considered if we want to have economic development. Is there infrastructure that will support economic growth? Like that my student I was talking about that couldn't join the class today because he didn't have enough power to charge his phone or his laptop? Or do we consider those that at a point do not have access road, even if they farm, even if they produce, they cannot bring what they have produced out to the market for people to purchase? All of these put together are elements that should be considered when we are talking about economic growth. We should have some of these facilities, some of this infrastructure in place so that at the end of the day, we can build all of them together. It helps us to grow. I will stop here for now and for this morning class, except if there are questions or contributions to take, we'll round up at this point and for this morning.
Okay, sir.
Well explained, sir. Well explained.
Yes, any contributions, any inputs, anything we need to take before we close for the morning?
I only want to say thank you, sir.
It's well taken, sir.
All right. So,
thank you very much for all you have done.
All right. So thank you so